I know you feel this.
We're live.
We are assuming direct control.
Yes.
For the last time, this will be the last time we talk about Mass Effect. And this is a very special episode.
Yes. Welcome to our first special episode.
First of many. This will be our Spoilercast for the Mass Effect 3 game that was recently. It's a little late, but we've had the benefit of wisdom from multiple other podcasts. And me and Donovan want to give you our takes on how we felt about Mass Effect 3. All the controversy around it. Good thoughts, bad thoughts, feelings in general. So Donovan, how do you feel about Mass Effect 3 after finishing it?
Well, I'm in the smaller camp, we'll say the minority of people that weren't as disappointed. I mean, I think I touched on this.
So you liked it then?
Overall, I think it's a fantastic game.
Okay.
The story was really well done. I mean,
Now, how did you play it?
Well, I played it as Paragon all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I've talked to a few people about their experiences with the game and the subtle differences. Like, I talked to Starsky and he killed Rex in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
The Queen, or the female Krogan died on him.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't have Rex or the Queen. I don't know if he was even able to do the genophage treatment at all.
Well, you still have... the Queen wasn't even there at all.
Well, she didn't live. So
At the end.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if they, it's...
All right, well, we'll get to that when we touch on the specialized
But anyway,
missions.
overall, I mean, up until the controversial ending, I was really, really happy with my experience with it. I mean, I was cheering at the screen at some points. I was getting
I'll
glassy-eyed
echo
at
that
other
sentiment.
moments.
There was certain times in certain missions. I have to... Up until from the beginning to about the middle of the game, the epic moments were coming, and they just kept coming.
Yeah.
They really did. The missions blew me away. Some of the way the puzzle came together, and the culmination of events from Mass Effect 1 and 2 and then in 3, for the most part, I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Some of them I felt were shoddily done and didn't come together as well, but we'll get to that later when we talk about some of the missions. As far as how I felt about Mass Effect 3, when I finished it, I didn't know what to think. Of course, we'll get to the ending at the end. After I finished it,
You were bitter.
I was very bitter right away. Yeah. And it wasn't... I never thought I'd have that reaction. I didn't think... Mass Effect has never disappointed me.
Yeah.
I love the universe. I'm heavily invested in it. I understand a lot of it.
Well,
I love the sci-fi worlds.
The reason we're doing this podcast in the first place.
And I think Mass Effect 3's universe is right up there with Star Trek and Star Wars in terms of the world that they've created, the races, the lore, the depth, and the technological explanations the Mass Effect relays.
Well, they've gotten into the science of it, and that's what makes it more believable.
Even down to the explanations of how they mine to travel the universe and how things come all into grip. These things actually are plausible. We'll touch on the real world thing, but recently they just billionaires and venture capitalists from around the world just formed a company. It's top secret. They just announced it. What they wanted to do. It's they want to reach out and start mining asteroids.
I heard about this. James Cameron.
Multiple people.
And then,
the Google guy.
Yeah.
I don't have his name off the tip of my tongue. There's quite a few of them, and that's incredible.
Yeah.
It is Mass Effect, Star Trek, Star Wars.
Well,
shit.
I immediately thought of, again, I haven't just started playing Mass Effect 1 again because I want to play Renegade. I've never done it. I read this thing on the news, and then I'm thinking about my game and how I'm like finding asteroids and mining for polonium or whatever, right? And it's like, okay, this really is.
It has bearing. And you almost
can see these
wonder
things
happening.
If maybe the game had some influence based on the timing of it.
There's no doubt. Now we're getting away from the gaming topic, but you know what? We're real people too with real thoughts.
Well, sure.
We don't live in game world all the time.
No, yeah.
Just most of the time.
But it does tie in a way.
It does. I have no doubt that future technological leaps and creations are based or loosely based or theorized through gaming, movies,
sci-fi
shows.
in general.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the history of like Star Trek and
it gives them a goal to aspire
more
to.
than like Star Wars, because Star Wars has got that more fantastical element to it.
It does.
Star Trek is based in reality, and it's basically like a possible future for us. And I mean, we've already seen sort of inventions that are based off ideas from these sci-fi stories.
It gives them the sci-fi technology and ideas, give them real life people, scientists, engineers, what have you, goals to strive for.
Yeah.
We see that in theory. Can we do that? You know what? Theoretically, we can. Theoretically, they think they can make teleportation devices.
Yeah.
Who knows? But anyway, I just thought that was incredible in a real life application to how the Mass Effect universe sort of is formed.
So this is basically just proving how invested we are in this.
Get back to the game and my overall impressions. I went through ups and downs when I finished it. I was bitter. I came across something that opened my eyes to questions that were already in existence for me.
Yeah.
The indoctrination theory mainly. And that gave me hope and made me think that BioWare were geniuses.
Well, and then you tuned me into that, and I ended up watching it and going, whoa, this is heavy.
And that made me have hope and made my whole idea of the ending turn around. But recently with the announcement, almost all those hopes have been dashed, and we'll get to that. But overall, I enjoyed the game. There were tons of epic moments.
Yep.
But the ending leaves me with a sour taste, and it's hard. I have to admit, it's been very, very hard to try and bring myself to get back and platinum the game. I want to platinum the game, and I will eventually. But Mass Effect 2, I did it right away.
Yeah.
And I didn't skip a beat. I enjoyed the characters. Something about Mass Effect 3, I enjoyed the gameplay. It was better. The worlds, the missions were better. The way they told the stories and how some things came together were better. But Mass Effect is a very character-driven universe for me, and I did not have the investment with the majority of the characters. I've touched on this in previous episodes. Right. And it doesn't give me something to go back to, because the characters I used in my Paragon run through, I always do a Paragon Renegade. That's the way it goes. Yep. Now, the next one would have to be a Renegade. I will have to use the same ones because I don't like any of the other ones.
Well, here's a funny thing, too, that a buddy at work told me. He just did his Insanity run, and when he got to the final mission, he used his human squad mates because they gave armor bonuses.
Yeah, I guess for the Insanity run through, you're going to be going through more survivability as opposed to who you like, and that makes sense. But
well, for me, my choices for the final mission were based on what I thought was right for the character.
I've always picked the characters based on the mission and who's involved, who I think would make more sense.
Yeah,
I've always done that.
And I mean, I mentioned this before, but I took Javik and Garrus on my final mission because I thought,
I think that's who I took.
I felt like I owed it to Javik to take him against the final battle.
Yeah. And Garrus is just the best.
Garrus is Garrus. I mean, there is no Garrus, or there is no Shepard without Vicarian.
So let's jump right into it. What are some missions and moments that stood out in Mass Effect 3 for you?
Well,
starting from the top.
Well,
just go
I will
through.
say my very favorite mission was the Tuchanka mission, and that had to do with how epic it was. I mean, like, that was the mission where I was literally cheering at the screen. Like, when the giant Thresher Maw came out and took down the Reaper, I was like, yes!
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was one of those kind of stand up off the couch kind of moments.
Now, we'll get to that mission in a bit, because I'd like to talk about it as well.
But it was a roller coaster mission.
It was, and I had the same feeling as you, because it showed that the story, they knew what they were doing, this was planned. It was the culmination of so many events and options, because that was a mission that
a lot of decisions that you had made in previous games really came to fruition in that mission.
And when Mass Effect 3 was at its best was in missions like Tuchanka.
Yeah.
but it also fell flat in quite a few missions, and it leads me to believe that the finale of the game was relatively rushed. A lot of the missions towards the end don't have the same thought process that Tuchanka does, or the culmination and the options. It just didn't.
It's funny to bring that up, even when you think that this game was actually supposed to come out
Before
quarter of
November,
2011.
November 2011.
So, they had extra time to fix or, like tweak things. So,
And it bothers me that I'm bringing it up because this is supposed to be the culmination of one of the best trilogies in game history, period.
I still believe that it is, regardless of its fault.
Well, it is the finale, but I should never be saying this game felt rushed. And I ever since EA's taken over BioWare, this is another issue entirely. I really feel they've tried to push a lot of things on them, and they've put unreasonable deadlines on a lot of their games. Dragon Age 2 fell victim to it. It was published. It was in a year and a half.
I'll get right behind you on that.
The first game had 6 years of development.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to do that? They're just trying to push money out of these people,
Well,
and it's ruining. But you know what?
It's the same thing that Microsoft is doing with Halo. Halo should be done. They should be moving on to something new.
Yeah, like how many games was it? 3?
Well, there were 3 main games, and then there was ODST and Reach. So really, there's already 5 Halo games, and now they're doing a new trilogy that doesn't need to be done. But again.
So anyway, you start off on Earth, and finally they know the Reapers are coming. And I really liked the beginning. I liked it was in Vancouver. We're Canadian.
Yeah, that's
it's kind
awesome.
of Vancouver is the hub of the world.
Yes.
Canadians
That
eventually
feels
do.
pretty
I guess Canadians do eventually take over the world.
That's right. Funny thing to
Maple
say.
syrup, riding moose, right into battle. That's us.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of funny to say that considering we both want to get jobs in the States.
Yeah.
Right now.
And then, it starts off, the Reapers attack, and it was impressive. Right away I noticed the visual improvement from the
Oh
backgrounds.
god, the smoothness of like.
But just so much going on in the background.
Like the Reaper when it first drops out of the sky, it's so impressive.
And then the dulling sound of the beam hitting, boom, and it just the sound wave almost comes through. It was good. You escape, but right away, it didn't hit me till after. But the things with the kid showing up and different things right away, something was off to me. I did notice it. I'm not trying to sound smart, and this does feed into the indoctrination theory, which we'll talk about later. But I noticed right away that Anderson, when the child is in the air in the duct,
He doesn't notice
him or hear him or acknowledge that he's there. And when you're escaping Earth and Anderson decides to stay, no one helps a kid out to get on that shuttle. Not one person. Now, don't you find that funny? Right away, and with no experience when I was playing the game, I thought that was weird. No one even looked at him or helped him into the shuttle.
Yeah.
They're helping other people. They're helping women get in to the shuttle. And so right away, I thought, it didn't register with me until later, and it feeds into the nightmares that Shepard continually has.
Right.
And you can read that multiple ways. But I liked the first reveal. Mars was a very cool mission.
Yep.
It gave us a foothold in our system, which is something we've never done. We've never played a mission on anything in the Sol system.
Except for Luna.
Oh yes, from the Mass Effect 1 downloadable
Which
content
I actually just
thing.
did that mission the other night.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
what I thought of
Thanks
that.
for correcting me. You're right. But Mars was well done.
Yep.
I liked it. I liked how they implemented Liara into it. Her new coat of paint, so to speak, gave her a more serious. Since becoming the Shadow Broker, she's become more serious. But I also found she's become more boring.
Right.
But it's an evolution of a character. But one thing I also say after finishing the game, I found there was a lot less dialogue on the ships as opposed to Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2, everyone always had stuff to say.
I found, you know what, based on some of the things that I've seen on YouTube and that, I missed a lot of stuff.
See, I didn't. I think I was 20 hours plus on a playthrough than you were.
Well,
I was 60, you were 41 or
44, and you were, I thought you said
60.
You're
No,
60
I was 60
hours?
hours, 59 and change.
Oh, wow. I thought you said like 55 or something like that. But even still, so you're well over 10 hours longer than me.
And I do, I'm, with games like that I'm invested in, I want to do and see and talk to everybody.
Yeah.
Let's just...
Well, I would go back to the Citadel, but not nearly as often as it sounds like you did. and I would make sure to like talk to everybody that was available to talk to, but I know I missed stuff with Morden. You know, when he's like singing to the female Krogan and stuff like that.
Well, that harkens back to the Mass Effect 2, I am the very model of a scientist Solarian.
And I didn't get that in 2
Oh, come
either.
on, that was his whole character. I love Morden, man. He killed me.
I went
He's
back
funny.
to him plenty of times, but I never got the single
That was from
part.
Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
Then he plays in the part. That's how he remembers, and that's the charm of the character.
Yeah.
And it is also some of the reasons why the cast for Mass Effect 3 was so disappointing. No one had the charm of a Morden, of a thing. And I felt it was a cop-out in some of the ways. I like the missions that they incorporated are old...
well, yeah, I mean, those were the ones that sort of shone the most. It stood out. I mean,
the crew members.
You know, when you're doing the rescue of the female Krogan, you've got Morden there, and really the whole Tachanka mission, you've got Morden in the background as well, right? So, I mean, that whole section of the game was a lot of fun because he adds that level of humor.
Well, I know he's a capable soldier, but on top of that, he's a brilliant scientist and he's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, and people allude to that as well, the other crew members. I like it.
And I didn't really get any of the chatter from Javik about tossing.
Oh, and everything was out the cargo hold.
Yeah, and I went to him plenty of times
and
too.
he was unintentionally funny.
Yeah,
I loved Javik.
Yeah.
It was very cool to have him. So after you leave Mars, that mission comes together. After that is what, the Citadel? You go. How'd you feel about the Citadel and how they incorporated? Because the Citadel's evolved a lot through the 3 games.
Well, the Citadel's been different on every game. And
the first one, it was very open.
And it was too open.
In a way, but I liked it.
It was kind of too sprawling. Like the...
I have to say...
The Presidium area...
It was very large and confusing.
Unless you like start fast traveling everywhere throughout the Citadel, it takes a long time to do things. I mean, I did the Keeper mission where you have to find all the...
Oh, I did them all too.
And doing it now is a lot easier than doing it the first time. I mean, there were a couple that like I completely missed because they're corridors that you may not walk down unless you're actually going for a tour through the entire Citadel. There's a couple places you don't necessarily need to walk unless you just want to see everything. Right?
Sure. But... Mass Effect 1 Citadel was probably a little too big.
Yeah.
But because of what I experienced with it, I kind of missed it in the subsequent games.
Well,
2 was very closed off in terms of the Citadel.
Yeah.
3 opened it up a bit more, and I liked how 3, each level of the Citadel that you visited, whether it was the embassies, they all incorporated the music from the first 2 games.
Yeah.
The floaty one, from every different stage. It was nice to... audio clue or harken back to the past 2 games. I like that.
When they did that, they scattered that stuff all through the game, which was really nice. Which makes for a lot of reasons why I think the soundtrack in 3 is the best, but it's also got some of the music that I like the least, if you know what I mean.
Give me an example.
I found that by going the Hollywood route for some of the music, it kind of takes away from the spirit of the music of the first 2 games. But on the other hand, they've included music from the first 2 games, and they've also, like some of the more toned down pieces were very emotional.
Sure.
So
it did. There was a main theme to the Mass Effect music.
Yeah.
That they used the piano.
Yeah.
I found it extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Very, very effective. And when they added in Reaper growls with it,
oh yeah,
it's very prominent in all the trailers, the first ones anyway.
Yeah.
And when you're escaping Earth with the part that I see with the child, the shuttles blow up from the Reaper beam as you escape.
Yeah.
It adds that impact right away. They get it right from the get-go. They do.
I love the piano music in this game.
I think it's fantastic.
And I've gone through forums, throughout the past couple of months since this game's come out, and I've seen people ragging on the music for this, that, and
I think
reason.
they're being absurd.
Yeah.
The first half of the game, to me, was a masterpiece. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
The missions, the impact of the story, the music, it gave me hope to see... Not hope, I did have hope, but they almost exceeded, if that was possible, up to the halfway point, what I expected in the culmination of the Mass Effect trilogy. But there were a lot of complaints as well. So after I like the Citadel. I've always enjoyed it. I like the concept of it.
What I like is that we know the Citadel's huge. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's like in every version of the game, we've had a different section.
Did you get the feeling when you were in the Citadel that... I know I really liked the news telling me what systems were being overrun. Mm-hmm. Did you get the sense of that the Citadel was very packed? Like the way they were saying, refugees are coming in from everywhere. Because I found it very sparsely.
The wards, I didn't think so. I thought...
No, those were, but...
Because you'd see more people coming in as the game progressed, too.
And I know they have to, in terms of scale and things like that.
And there were things going on in the hospital.
I found the hospital... For a hospital that's supposed to be... It seems like it's the only hospital in the Citadel. Right. It seemed very small.
Well, this is what I mean when I say it felt to me like in each game we got to see different parts of the Citadel. Mm-hmm. So obviously that's not the only hospital in the Citadel. Mm-hmm. And it's not only one floor.
I know.
But...
It seems to me the hospital was host to one of the other side... I've always enjoyed the side conversations. Eventually they repeat after every time you walk through. Okay. But it also played into the war asset thing.
Yep. But I really liked how you could get quests just by walking by someone and hearing them talk about something.
Now, I like that, but the side... the quest lines and the side missions, I thought were lazily implemented into the game. Mm-hmm. How it doesn't make any sense that every race has lost the paragon of their people in order to inspire them to be a part of the war, and you just happen to find it from a probe on a planet. It was silly and it was lazy. The side missions in Mass Effect 2 were much, much better done as opposed to Mass Effect 4.
Well, as far as like doing the loyalty missions and stuff like that. I mean...
Those also... But I'm just talking the side missions.
Yeah.
Like there was the Batarians trying to crash something into the moon and you had to choose whether to save the infrastructure save the people or save the infrastructure. That was just a side mission that you could do or not do. It had nothing to do with the characters. Mm-hmm. That's in 2. 3, the way you did that and... just searching for these things, and all of a sudden you'd find a ship for your war assets. On top of that, I found the war asset system ultimately is a waste of time. It's cool to see who you're recruiting and the text and how it literally has almost no impact on your mission other than a number.
Yeah.
A number, it's like you do it and then you completely forget about it. Other than read about it, you never see them again.
Well, except that I suppose
they could have done a lot more. You could easily
argue this.
They could have done a lot more to it.
But I mean, like when you make the call to start the final mission and all the ships go.
Yeah, but that cinematic is the exact same no matter who you recruited. You don't see the Rachni coming to the fight. You don't see the Krogan coming in their own ships. You see the Asari ship, the Destiny Ascension and things like that, but nothing changes. There's but when I'm coming in for the final battle, I wanted to see all those people. I wanted to see, let's say I chose the Krogans. You could choose the Krogans or the Solarians to back in the Genophage mission.
Oh, right.
I wanted to see the Krogan commander Rex or his brother Reeve if you chose to kill him.
Right.
I wanted to see the Solarian commanders given that speech to build that moment.
Rex was giving his speech.
He's on Earth.
Yeah.
But
there weren't a lot of Krogan there. It didn't seem
there's like 12.
Yeah.
That was, you know what I mean? It made the battle seem smaller than what it should have been.
Okay, now
let's not get ahead of ourselves though. Let's stay with the missions.
Okay.
Because the ending will probably take up the meat of our podcast. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
no.
Because we'll get on a tangent here and we'll get going. One thing leads to another. I guess the priority missions, I liked how they did them. It was the priority.
Yeah.
Did you get a sense of urgency that the Reapers were attacking and you needed to do this stuff?
Well,
I know it's really hard to accomplish. Because the world has to be somewhat open,
and that's
right?
the thing, like, you could say that about the missions in the previous games too. It's like, do you go in and rush and...
Yeah, but the situation wasn't the same.
It's not, but at the same time, because it's a game, you've got assignments, priority missions. Well, I'm going to do all the side quests first.
Sure, that's the way. And you can actually lock a few off if you don't do them.
Right.
Based on things that happen.
There were a couple of things I missed in 3 because I didn't buy secrets from the Spectre booth or something, because I thought
wish
I
they
might
did,
find
and that's
that.
the thing. I liked how they did the Spectre mission on the Citadel. I wish they did more with it.
Yeah.
You're a Spectre. You're supposed to be privy to all this information.
Yeah.
You're the top espionage unit in the entire galaxy,
Yeah.
and there's not much.
They pepper it a little bit, but they don't. I think they were very focused on the war story, and in that sense, you know, that's why you've got, you know, the war assets. Maybe it's just a number, but this is a war story. Yes?
But I got the feeling that the urgency they wanted to create wasn't more from a game aspect. It happened more through a text aspect when you're searching the different worlds, and as you travel through the galaxy, the text descriptions give you they tell you the Reapers were there. They tell you they killed this thing, but you don't ever see it. You don't feel that urgency or the hurt that's around.
So
I didn't get the feeling that, like, I knew Thessia was under attack, and we finally got there, and it was nice to. That was the first time I've actually seen one of a mission that you saw the result of the Reaper's handiwork.
Right. Because that was, you know, that's the mission that technically you fail.
Technically.
And you have to deal with the consequences
And
of
we'll
that.
get to that. I love that mission, but the way it ended was stupid.
Yeah, I don't
We'll get to that in a sec. But, so, I liked the Citadel mission where it was invaded.
Yes.
I liked it.
That was very surprising, actually.
It caught me off guard. I liked it.
I was like, okay, it's time to go back to the Citadel.
Because you're going back to talk to one of the ambassadors.
I think so. Either that or maybe Miranda.
I think it was the Solarian ambassador.
Okay. Yeah,
and
that's right.
because it was priority Citadel, you have to come back, and it's invaded. And this is your first introduction to Kai Lang,
Right.
who is basically the main enemy of the game.
Well, and also
In
the
terms of a
concept-
battle aspect.
and the concept that there is somebody leaking information to Cerberus that we don't know about.
That's right. Well, I mean, it eventually, you knew something was going to happen with Udina. Now, I know there's different variations of the way this mission can end. What did you think of Kai Lang? Kai Lang was a character who was mentioned in the novels before, so people that had read the novels, I didn't,
either.
knew about him, and he had a history with Anderson. I suppose Anderson was the one who took his legs.
Oh.
He has prosthetic legs.
Okay.
Anderson took his legs and whatever. Now, I don't know if the Thane, because Thane faces Kai Lang when you're trying to get to the ambassador.
Right.
You're trying to save him, then a cutscene ensues.
Right.
And Kai Lang is about to kill him, and Thane intervenes.
Right.
Now, what if Thane was dead? I don't know what would happen. What if Thane didn't survive Mass Effect 2?
Then he wouldn't have been there at all, right?
So what happens? I guess the Thane part doesn't happen and he doesn't get stabbed? Because it seems like I don't know how that cutscene would change.
Well, that's a good question, really, because I mean, this ties into what I mentioned earlier about Starsky's playthrough of the series and how they're completely different because he made different decisions, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, we can make the arguments. I mean, certainly many people have about the consequences of our actions throughout the series, but obviously there were consequences to our actions throughout the series. It just didn't fulfill everybody's expectations.
Yeah, and that's to be expected in some ways, but
again, what we're really talking about here is like,
so do you
there are so many different ways to play this game and choices to make.
I don't think there's different ways to play it. There's just different ways to
see it,
or
okay.
and experience it.
Right.
Some of the
Okay.
decisions, but very few of the decisions impact the game in a way that's different. They all impact the game.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change ultimately change the game.
Well,
and that is what that is one of the biggest gripes against it. Forget the ending. A lot of people feel that for a game of choice, a lot of them do not impact the game very much.
Well, I'll use a perfect example because I've been playing my Renegade playthrough now, and on the Mass Effect 1, I got to the part where there's people arguing in the Presidium there near the financial district, and then there's a woman that's got a baby that she doesn't want to get gene therapy done to, and her husband who has died, his brother's there, and he's arguing for it to get gene therapy.
Okay.
Well, in the first game, I did the Paragon solution for it, and I did the Renegade version this time, and got the exact same result.
Mm-hmm. But that's a side quest with little bearing. I'm talking about main story quests.
But my point is
Yeah.
that, you know, in the same sense, you can still accomplish the really important goal if you've put enough points into Intimidate or whatever, right? So, as opposed to Charm.
And that's fine, but choosing, I guess, well, let's finish the Citadel thing. And actually, at the end of it, one of these decisions do come into play, so it goes in. You can, he's made, who did you save? Caden or Ashley?
I saved Ashley.
I did as well, but my Renegade one, I chose to save Caden. And I don't know what happens with Caden. I assume it's the exact same thing.
Maybe.
Because when Ashley is injured, we missed that. That's on the Mars mission.
Right.
When that cyborg infiltration unit took and injured Ashley. You figure it injured and Edie takes over the body. No, Caden gets injury. He injured just the same and goes to the hospital. The dialogue options, the way it changes is the exact same. Okay. And I assume the Spectre option from Udina comes as well.
Okay. Yeah, it makes
so
sense.
When you get to the top of the Citadel after facing Kai Lang, he stabs Thane. What was it? I want to, in terms of, I'm sort of getting scattered here, but Kai Lang is an important character and he's something I want to talk about in this. When I first encountered him, his, like, the way he was differentiated and the way he was designed, he wasn't bigger. He looked like he could be a part of your crew. I thought, to me, my initial thought was, I'm going to get to recruit him at some point. As an option, though. Yeah. I didn't think he was going to be a mandatory member. I thought a Renegade option to take him on at some point. That's the feeling I got. He was too cool to not be a part of your party. And you knew he was a tool of the Elusive Man.
Right. To me, he didn't blow me away.
He didn't blow me away either, but he was badass right away.
I suppose, but
he's jumping from ship to ship, stabbing. He's blocking Shepard's bullets with a blade, a la Gray Fox from Metal Gear Solid.
Fair enough.
And he looked cool. Yeah. He had the samurai aspect with the traditional ponytail. It was like a futuristic samurai. Yep. I liked his design.
In the end, I just thought he was a henchman.
And he was, unfortunately. Yeah. He was. Yeah. That's his fate. And I think they missed an opportunity with him.
Well, I'll give you that because
I really do.
That, you mentioned that to me earlier, and I thought that's cool. I had already played past that point and knew that wasn't going to happen. Yeah. But I was like, yeah, that would have been a neat option.
But I know what they wanted to do. They wanted to represent an equal for Shepard, and in some ways they accomplished it because he thwarts Shepard a few times. Thwarts him a few times. Yeah. So you get to the top and you choose to back, but ultimately Udina dies. Yeah. Because he's the culprit. Whether you can get Ashley or Caden to shoot him or you shoot him yourself.
I shot him myself because when it got to that point in the story, I said to myself, I've had it with your bullshit, buddy.
Everyone wanted to kill that dude.
I had kind of, like I said, I played Paragon, so I went along with it, whatever. I got to that point, I was glad to pull the Renegade trigger on that one.
And from there, the Citadel changes. Yeah. It looks war-torn. You can get new quests and stuff. I like that. The Citadel did change. Yeah. The refugee aspect changed as well. So let's get into the first major issue is your favorite mission, the Tuchanka. And that's one of the basic, the first real story mission that has a super impact on the story. Yeah. Was Tuchanka before the Citadel invasion?
I think it was.
I think we missed a beat there. Sorry.
That's okay, though.
Internet people are going to be like, you don't even know what you're talking about. How can you do a spoiler cast?
I think they know that we know what we're talking about.
Anyway, so I forgot, I didn't mean to skip over that. But that mission was awesome. Yeah. It showed a side of Tuchanka that it wasn't just a nuclear wasteland. They had culture. Well, and it was the first time there were so many variations to that story and what could happen. Morden, in my playthrough, Morden dies.
Mine too, and I've heard that you can...
But you can also kill him yourself.
Oh, by lying
choosing if you take the Solarian, if you back the Solarians and their option to corrupt the genophage device. That's right. He will try to stop you because he's smart. Right. And you have the option to kill him. Oh. But in my playthrough also... the Krogan Queen died,
and in mine it didn't.
She survived, and I like that, but I'm trying to figure out how that is decided because it's not a loyalty thing from ME2.
Yeah, I'm curious.
It has to be a time aspect, and I think I took too much time. They do give you subtle hints that she is not well, right, all the time. So Morden even says it when you're on the Normandy.
Oh, right.
He just says it multiple times. But the Krogan female was very cool.
Yeah.
You got to see a different side of the Krogans.
No, I thought she was a really well done character.
And I believed the storyline and the aspect because I understood the Solarians' point because the last time they gave the Krogans the leeway.
Oh, absolutely.
So that decision had weight on both sides.
Yep.
You had to go with your gut and what you felt was right.
Well, and I mean, for me, I was like, I've been loyal to Rex. I've managed to turn him, or I felt like I'd managed to help turn him into a good leader. So I was like, I trust him enough. I think he's gonna,
But the thing is, the Krogans are volatile and they might overthrow him. But that's a different, and I like that dynamic because it gives you something, if you survive, blah, 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 blah. And, okay, so that mission, the way it ends is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the fight against the Reaper when it's blasting everything away, the urgency, I was blown away.
Me too. Like
blown
I said,
away.
That was my favorite mission in the whole game.
It's close. Rannoch and the Geth, I've always been thoroughly intrigued by the Geth and Quarian dynamic. The creation of AI is something that I really enjoy.
Yep.
And it will happen in our time. We will give birth to an AI, whether it's 100 years, 200 years, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But it's coming and it's getting closer. So that's something that's always intrigued me. But the Tuchanka mission was awesome. And I guess that we got to touch on the Crucible. What did you think of it? Because that is the thrust. You're buying time to finish the Crucible.
Well, and I think we've touched on this a little bit before.
And the war assets play into that.
You never really know what the Crucible is.
What the fuck is it?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Everybody thinks it's a super
and I
weapon.
got sick of hearing Anderson and Hackett talk about it. They're basically saying, we got to finish the Crucible because then we win. And I was like, are you kidding me? You don't even know what it does.
That's very naive.
No one says anything until the end. Finally, towards when you're getting to the end of the missions, someone says something. I forget if it's Shepard or who, and he's like, we don't even know what this thing does. I'm like, oh my god, someone finally said it.
Shepard does say it, yeah.
Shepard, because I was like, it frustrated me the entire game. What the fuck? Like, what is it? What is it? You don't even know what it does.
Because everybody just assumes that it's a super weapon.
The Rachni are working on the Crucible. And where are they building it? Okay, the Reapers can invade the entire galaxy. They can find you with your sensors. If you are filtering through planets and shit, they'll track you down.
Yeah.
So you're telling me this thing's huge. It's massive. It's as big as the Citadel. And all these ships and races are building it, and they're not attacking you? Come on. Like, it just wasn't... it was a lazy plot device. I didn't get it. And that's when I started thinking about that, outside of the missions, the story started to fall apart for me a little bit. Because I can't forgive that. I'm a smart guy, and I can't just take games for what they are. That's something I couldn't ignore.
Because I think, it's a funny thing to say that, because I think sometimes when there are moments like this, I go, well, it's a video game, so you kind of have to let a few things slide.
Okay, if we let that slide, I mean, you got to demand more from your entertainment. I mean, that to me, that's not a sufficient excuse.
When you think about it, we're getting stuff out of these games that really, like, the overall package is so impressive.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
but it doesn't matter, and you get more, you want more. That's human nature.
And we just, we can't help but pick apart the things that don't feel right.
But that's not small.
Yeah.
If it was a small thing, I would take your point, and I would agree with it.
I'm not trying to make light of it.
The resistance movement and all the races that you're putting together hinge on this Crucible. They say it all constantly. You don't know what the thing does, and it really frustrated me.
So when it finally does what it does...
Well, we'll get to that. It's a gigantic PlayStation Move controller. That's what it is. That's what it is. It looks just like it's got the glowy ball in the end. It looks like a PlayStation Move controller.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
But anyway, the other mission I liked was Rannoch. I loved it. The Geth dynamic. If you had high enough points at the end, you could have them work in harmony. The Geth and Quarians can live together.
I think that's what I got.
Yeah, but if you don't have a high enough reputation or the points to decide,
okay,
Tally will die, or Legion dies, and you lose one of the allegiance.
Oh, okay.
In the final battle, you do.
Oh, wow.
So that plays out. That's the other mission that was just like Tuchanka with so many different dynamics, and it was masterfully done. I don't know too many moments in games where I've known the the different storylines and how they come together. And I thought looking at that contained piece of the story, I was blown away, just like the Tuchanka one.
Yeah, and I'll agree. That's definitely a...
Getting inside the Geth, what was it, conscious or collective?
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was really cool to see how the Geth lived, and because the more there are, the stronger they are, the smarter they are, the more capable of. But you reduce the numbers, they're less effective.
Right.
I love Legion as a character.
Oh, he's a fantastic character.
He's unintentionally funny as well.
Yep.
He just... Like Shepard, that one moment when they're about to attack on Rannoch, one of the missions, and Shepard just goes, "You're not gonna,"
and then he just out the door.
He is gonna do that,
yeah.
And he just jumps out of the.
Oh, he doesn't even jump. He just kind of
like lands and then he just runs off.
Just tilts out the door. I'm gonna just drop out.
Such a cool character. His voice was awesome.
Yep.
I love the Geth. I thought they were very, very Shepard Commander and flashlight heads. Yeah. Gotta love the Geth.
Yeah. Very
gotta
well
love
designed.
him.
Well, and here's a cool thing that's neat. The Geth have been through the entire series, and they look almost the same as they did in the first game.
But they got the design right.
Yeah.
But they did drop one enemy unit from the first one, the Geth armaments, the big ones that will bombard you when you're traveling.
Right.
I would like to see you actually fight one Geth armament. Hopefully, I'm saying that right in Mass Effect 2. On the Quarian recruiting
mission.
tally, which is a fantastic mission from 2. Has different dynamics on the world because you can't stay in the sun, you get injured. You have to stay in the shade. But then there's the boss fight, and you fight. You find the only other male Quarian that you have some sort of connection to, Kyle Rieger.
Yeah,
and they kill him off in an email. Like how many important characters that they just threw off to the side. And that are solved. Their fates are solved in emails.
Well, again, you got to take into consideration like the scope of what they're doing, and they do need to tie things up. If they put story elements into every single aspect of this, and again, with multiple play styles and being able to do different things, right? Like you're talking about the Zeus Hope thing and all that stuff, right? They mention. I think it's you almost have to just say to yourself, it's good enough that they went through the checklist.
And if we're talking about overlooking things, I can overlook that. Right. But I did notice it. Yeah. Like the Crucible I can't overlook. No. That I can overlook.
Right.
But the ending of this is one of the very first controversies. You get, if Tally's your romantic interest, you get a picture of her. But it's just a human female picture. Yeah, and that's where the first people are like, you tease this all the time, and this is the way you deal with it. Like that's the ending. That's how she's supposed to look. There's no individuality with the Quarian, so that was disappointing. I would like to see Tally's face.
Yeah,
give a face to the Quarians for everybody to see. Do they have glowy eyes? Are they blue skinned? Because Javik alludes to the way the Quarians were beautiful people, and they used to prominently walk around their thing, and now they hide in their suits and shit. So the Tally thing...
I heard about that. Not only that, but I heard it was a recycled picture.
It was. It's just a random picture from a model on the internet. So, yeah, I don't know where they got it, and I think it's a very poor decision to do it.
Wow.
So that covers basically our favorite moments from the game. I was disappointed in the side missions a lot. But then we get to the ending. And the finale of it. Take it away.
All right. Well, I mean, when I got to the Earth mission.
Well, you start off on start off on the
Cerberus
space, and that's how the Miranda thing ties in.
Right. I thought that I looked at it this way. By the time I got to the ending cinematics portion of the end of it, I felt like the entire way up to that point was the boss battle. And that's kind of how I thought it was actually more appropriate that I had to fight troops after troops after troops on my way to get to my ultimate goal, because I am in a war, and that's basically how it should have been. The fact that there wasn't technically a last boss battle,
to me, that's unforgivable.
You think?
Absolutely. I'll just jump in here for a quick tidbit.
Yeah.
I know you liked the ending, or you could live with it.
I was satisfied with the ending, except for the fact that I do agree that they need to, flesh out some stuff that they didn't
But
get
I'm
answered.
just saying, for a game, this is the end. The Reapers are here.
Mm-hmm.
They're killing everybody. We have to fight them and win, or we die.
Yeah.
For a game that is, the Reapers, they have no impact. Every other game, Mass Effect 1, Sovereign talks to you. It gives a face to the enemy.
Yeah.
Harbinger talks to you in the second one. He is the collector's Harbinger.
Yeah.
That's where our namesake and introduction to the story comes from.
Yeah.
It gave a face to the enemy. The Reapers in Mass Effect 3 have no identity. And this is when they have to be front and center. It drove me insane. There's no contact with them.
No, there isn't.
There isn't. Other than him, Harbinger comes down at the end. He's not there. They don't try to contact you. And there's just no explanation.
Well, you don't make any direct control.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no direct
You go
contact.
ahead. You go ahead, but I thought that was inexcusable.
Well, okay. Including the Cerberus mission leading into the final battle.
And that's where your big boss, you fight Kai Lang for the final time.
Right. And that was a good fight.
I liked seeing the Cerberus base.
Yes.
You finally got to see the sun that was in the background and his special thing and where the elusive man stayed and his base of operations.
No, that was really cool. I thought that whole section, the story elements that got played out as far as...
Did you like the Kai Lang boss fight?
I did. It took me a couple tries to figure out that I couldn't just go after him straight away. Because I was trying to let my squad mates deal with the other thing, and then all the troops that came out, and I was just trying to concentrate on him. Once I figured out you actually had to kill all the troops to be able to get to him.
I don't think you did. I think he was replenishing his shield, but you could knock him off there, but it just took a lot. But it doesn't matter.
It took a lot. Yeah. But anyway, like I said...
It was a good fight.
I felt like everything leading up to that Earth mission and then being on the ground...
You know what? I'm going to cut you off. We completely forgot to talk about Thessia. The first intro. Let's cover that.
Okay.
Then we'll roll into the ending. Sorry, guys. We're jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
Thessia is... Asaris are the most advanced race. They were the first. They were the finders of the Citadel. They lived for thousands of years. And they have a very technologically advanced utopian society. But they're
thanks to the Protheans.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I liked how that tied in.
Yeah, that was cool.
Their gods and they thought they were so special are just no different than how everyone else was. The Protheans set the foundation. It was really well done.
And again, another point where having Javik is
See, and I didn't take him on that mission because Liara is... You have to take her.
Yeah.
But I took Garrus. I should have took Javik.
Yeah, I took Javik because he's got a lot of cool things to say.
I next time when I do eventually play through on the Renegade option, I will take him.
Yeah. The part that I hated the most about the ending of that mission was when Kai Lang cuts the floor and you're hanging on for dear life.
He walks away with the after you find the VI in the temple.
Okay.
I like the way they did it too. There's pieces of history in this temple. And the fight to get there was good.
Yeah.
It felt like Thessia was being destroyed.
But the thing that I want to say is
I know what you're gonna say.
What's holding the floor up?
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck?
Well, but how? Also, the mission just ends.
Yeah.
But how the fuck do you get back to the Normandy? How do you get back to the Normandy, Don?
Oh, you get.
Come on.
That didn't
The
bother
Reapers
me.
are destroying everything. It was hard to get you there. It was hard to get to Thessia and land you there. All of a sudden, the mission ends, you're dangling there, and it's the end of the mission. How do you get up? Oh no, sorry, the Liara pulls you up miraculously, but you know what, the Reapers, you can see them in the background as Kai Lang escapes. The Reapers even more are descending. It signifies that Thessia is lost.
Right.
It's lost, and that's the first time you see the decimation of a known planet, because saving the Krogans, Palaven perseveres. In the Turian Krogan, but the Krogans back the Turian up because they're the strongest military, so that's who the Reapers hit the hardest. But they're able to regain a foothold with the Krogan support.
You're right about the ending of that mission. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
Not only is the cinematic kind of ridiculous with the floor thing, which is just, you can take it for what it is, but yeah, the way it just ends. I mean,
after a good mission, the ending to it was terrible.
Yeah. I guess I didn't think too much about being whisked away.
I dropped my controller right away. I was like, what the fuck? Like, the mission's over, I get a loading screen, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 2 did that a lot, I found, with the whole...
Didn't leave me hanging like that.
No, but I did find I got a little annoyed by the sort of chapter end screen that used to come up in 2. That
The Cerberus thing.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know, it kind of took me out of it a little bit.
Now, how did you feel? So the main... Getting back to what we were talking about, the Reapers not having identity, the main antagonist is the Elusive Man.
Yeah. Who
was your, ally in 2. What did you feel about the Elusive Man? After we cover this, we'll roll into the ending.
Right. I felt like he should have been in it more.
I do too, completely.
Yeah.
For a guy who was so prominent in 2, but mysterious.
Yeah.
You knew there was more to that. You do not get an explanation. I think some of the comics and books touch on who he is, but you know what? A lot of people, 90% of your fans are not reading those.
Yeah. No, I thought that I'm playing through the game and I'm getting to a point where it's like, it's been a long time since I've heard about anything about the Elusive Man. And
he was your ally and you know what he's going through, but you're almost, have the Reapers taken him over completely?
Well, the fact that you're fighting all these Cerberus agents all the time.
Well, very early it shows that he's taken Reaper technology.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't know if he did it on his own.
Yeah.
After stealing the technology from the Reapers, or the Reapers took over and did it against their will. You don't know.
Yeah. But the whole thing is you just get these little peppered spots of Elusive Man stuff, and because he's sort of the orchestrator of...
He needed to be involved more.
The Reapers are your main enemy, but so is he, really. I mean, almost on an equal level.
You don't really know that until the end. You know he's not allied with you. I mean, I knew he was a part of it, but I didn't know he was going to be the face of evil.
Okay, fair enough, but you know he's not on your side.
No, I know he's not.
So, I mean... Yeah,
but my main question about him, I knew he was bad, but I didn't know if he was doing it against his will
or if
he chose.
Yeah.
If he was indoctrinated, taken over, or he chose to do this on his own.
Yeah.
You're never told.
I think, and he thought that he'd done it on his own.
Well, and that is the ending, but we'll get to that and the different perspectives of how you choose to view the Elusive Man. Okay, let's get to it. So you finish the Cerberus mission, you get to Earth, the cinematic, all your troops roll to battle.
Yeah.
In the ending.
Yeah.
I liked it. But I was like, where are my decisions? Where are the people?
I did think that too.
Where are the Rachni? I saved them. They were a big deal.
Especially since that carries over from the first game.
You said little insect sounds and making, and I want to see their ships. I want to see how they get around. They're a spacefaring race. It says they are.
Yep.
Do they give them ships? Ships? I don't know. I want to see the Krogan battleships.
Well, really, other than the Queen and a few Rachni we saw in the first game. What do we see of them?
Well, and then
aside from the Reaper versions,
versions, which are the Ravagers that take with the cannons, they're cool. But
I'm not saying they're not, but I mean, I would, like you said, it would have been nice to see. Okay, here's the Rachni forces that I've recruited. Here's the Geth forces that I've recruited. Here's the Quarians, all of that stuff. Yeah, and I agree with you completely on that. That is one thing that I definitely felt like, okay, I did all this work.
And that's a cinematic, but again, that would have been something I was able to overlook.
Yeah,
but.
Well, when you see all those ships come in at a light speed, you're like, okay,
this is the assault.
This is my fleet. I did this. I did get that sense as well. Even though there was no individuality to it, I did kind of feel like I did that.
Yeah. Okay. So you get to Earth, you fight, you set up shop. It's sort of a refuge. The last of the resistance there, and you man a couple guns. I felt some of the characters throughout the game lacked emotion to me. Only when Thessia was lost did I get the emotion out of Liara.
Right.
And that was the first moment I genuinely felt for her as a character, and a lot of them actually. Garrus was always cool to me. I was invested in him, but none of them have any emotional impact. They're vacant with a lot of it. Liara had it when she lost. She gets genuinely angry.
Yeah.
And it follows up if she was your love interest. I mean,
well, in my game she was.
She was as well, but she gives you a final kiss, almost says goodbye. It was a good moment.
Yeah.
You get to have a little moment with